Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. I was literally just had a big huge bowl of applesauce. It was cold. I sat on the couch, I've been working, took a little break, and I just had a thought. What happened if someone comes in your house, no violence, no nothing like that, and for whatever situation is, has removed all your food? There's not an ounce of food in your house. There's not an ounce of animal feed, pet food. If you have livestock, there's not a bale of hay left in your barn. They leave your animals, they leave anything that's outside growing. So if you got an apple tree, peach tree, whatever, you got some asparagus coming up now in the south, they left all that. You have no food. They didn't take anything else. So if you had some books on wild edibles, if you had the knowledge in your head on wild edibles, all that's there. Also, you got your neighbors. The same thing happened to every single one of your neighbors. Every bit of food. This will get you thinking about, could I survive where I am in my location? If you're in the country, you have a better chance. Now, I'm not going to be dishing on you if you live in a city. No, not at all. That's where you are. That's why you have to think this through too and do the same exercise everyone else is if you're in the city, suburbs, in the country. Big thing is what time of year it is. Right now it's springtime. So let's assume that. Now also do a mental exercise if it is wintertime. If it's wintertime, all your food's gone. It's going to be hard to feed your animals. So even if you have animals, you might have to start slaughtering animals and feeding them. Now for me, all my hay's gone for my 2 cows. I got some green grass, not enough. I would be having to barter with my neighbor. Say, hey man, I need some of your grass. In exchange for grass, I can give you a quart of milk a day, half a quart of milk a day, something. So that would be huge. Without hay and only grass, your milk production is going to drop. You know, if your cow's used to getting a ton of hay, so what you have at your house is going to be important, but there's no hay because hay's gone, chicken feed's gone, rabbit feed's gone. The only things left is what's naturally growing outside. Think about that. Could you survive? Do you have what's up here to go find stuff in the woods? You might not live near the woods. You might live in the city. You're going to be in trouble, but you need to do that exercise because one day you might be without food. Your neighbors were without food. And now we don't want to bring anything of the security elements in, like, you know, if your neighbors are hungry, they're going to be stealing from you. That's going to be a given. Hopefully they don't, but that's not part of the scenario. The scenario is a brain scenario. Think about it. Mental exercise. Do you have the skill sets to go find? I got some dandelions. I see tons of dandelions right there. If you're saying, Dave, you eat dandelions? Yes, you need to learn this stuff. You need to get the books necessary to figure out what you can eat. Now, in the south, asparagus is starting to shoot up. I have a buddy that had some shoot up already. What else could you eat? This is mind-blowing. This will tell you, can I survive in my location? Now, I have tons of rabbits, but I don't have any rabbit feed. So I would be picking everything I could find, weeds, grass. Right now, I'm feeding them. I have a bunch of small poplar trees coming up, and they love popular leaves and the small shoots, the new shoots coming off the tree. Now they're very tiny little trees, so they love them. They eat the whole thing, branch and all. So I have that going for me. I got lots of weeds, I got some grass. But I'm doing an experiment. I'm going to end the experiment either tomorrow or Monday. No commercial feed to my rabbits. It's been 8-9 days. I wish I'd have weighed every single one and done it scientifically, but I can tell you what, I don't think they're gaining weight. So that's not a good thing. Now, yes, I'm not abusing my rabbits. They're getting plenty of stuff. But having commercial rabbit pellets is so important. So right now, what would I do? Okay, I got no food on the whole place. Let's see in the garden. I got some potatoes here. They're not ready yet. Probably a couple little pieces of asparagus coming up, but not enough to feed me and my wife. Plus, I got grandchildren, I got a son, I got a daughter-in-law, I got parents, I got sister and brothers. It'd be hard just right now to do what I got. Now, I do have a ton of walking onions. Some people call them Egyptian onions. I got a ton of those coming up. So we could eat some onions. I have some little tiny strawberries, not even ready, close to being ready. So that'd be a problem. But 2 miles down the road, there's a guy growing tons and he sells them, and he's got them already. So maybe I could work a trade out with him. What else do I have on my property? I got eggs. So my egg production will be okay for a day or two without feed, and then it would collapse. So I would have to take my chickens and free range them to the max. When you free range them all in that woods, yeah, they're gonna find stuff, but also you take the risk of some of them getting killed. A hawk come by, but it would have to be done. Chickens would free range. So we've cut way back our chickens, and I'll tell you why we cut chickens back, because I cannot sustain myself on this piece of property with 50 chickens, with 60 chickens. Ain't gonna happen. So we've cut back, and I don't know how many he's got. I say maybe in 20. So we could sustain ourselves with that. We have a creek nearby. I would set the minnow traps in the creek and catch minnows. The minnows we could eat ourselves, or we could feed the really, really small ones if we wanted to the chickens for some protein. I definitely have tons of worms in the compost area right now. I could dig worms up. If I could feed the worms to the chickens, I would do that before I eat the worms. So we would have some eggs. So we might go down to 15, 17, 18 eggs that we get in every day. We might drop, because no commercial feed, we might drop to 10 eggs. You know what? 10 eggs would be great. We have some small rabbits. We could definitely, some fryers. We could harvest those immediately and get some protein. We'd have milk, we'd have eggs, we'd have some rabbits. We have onions, man, onions and those those onions and those rabbits be a great meal. Probably my wife could whip up something with that milk and that cream, make some butter, at least make some type of sauce to go on the rabbits. So I'm thinking right now, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Other than that, other than wild edibles, mushrooms, there's a lot around me. That's why having books is key. If you don't know the information, at least have a book, and having some general knowledge. That way you can find whatever it is, look in a book and verify. Oh yes, that's it. I remember that's what I can eat. So start thinking that through. Someone has removed every ounce of food in your house. Now, if you live next to neighbors, let's talk about my neighbors. Some of them have chickens, a lot of them don't. To be honest with you, there's a lot of neighbors here that grow a garden, but not a lot right here that borders me that has food. So I actually probably have more food than most of the people right now. So I don't think my neighbors could give me much assistance, because remember, everyone lost their food. No one has any food. So actually they'd probably look at Dave and say, Dave, can you spare a couple cups of milk? Can you spare a rabbit? Can you spare some walking onions? What do you got to spare? Now, as the year goes on, you know, different things are going to come in. If you got seeds, you put them in the ground, you probably can make it. Now, there's also wild animals. For me, tons and tons of wild animals. In my location, you live in the suburbs, you might occasionally get something coming through, but I would immediately set out some traps. In the state of South Carolina, it is illegal to set up snares. In that type of situation, no rule of law, I would set snares, lots of snares. I would set all kinds of traps, leg hold traps. You might say, Dave, that's cruel. What's cruel is your children starving to death. That's even crueler in my book. So I want you to start positioning yourself, if someone removes your food, that you have answers to these problems. Mentally figure it out. It's going to be hard, but that's the scenario. That's your homework for this weekend. Every ounce of food in your house is gone. How long before you starve to death? Don't bring in any violence with the neighbors or violence, people trying to steal your food. No. What can I do? Thanks for watching.